Hey guys, how's it going? Today we had the Blazing Dominion livestream for the TCG, so we know a ton of information on that set now. A really important thing is that we know a lot of the different rarities and names for cards on that set. For example, we know that the Crimson King is going to be a secret rare now. That card was definitely going to be high rarity because the card is really good. Another really good card is Apex Polymerization. This card is really strong because it can't be responded to. Now, a really funny thing about Apex Polymerization is that the English name is called Super Duper Polymerization. That name is honestly such a joke, and I have no idea why Konami called it that. That name sounds like something some kids on a playground would think about, not some adults who work at Konami TCG. It's honestly incredibly funny to me just saying super duper polymerization. So getting to know a lot of the card names and rarities are really important, but another really important thing is that now we have all the new GMX cards in Blazing Dominion. The GMX cards we first got in Burst Protocol were honestly pretty decent in my opinion. Some of the other cards were pretty mid, but you could tell certain cards had a lot of potential. Cards like Solande were pretty good in a pretty mid archetype. Now we have the final wave of support for GMX, and even though the cards aren't broken, I would say some of them are really good. I'm honestly a pretty big fan of a main deck monster and one of the new fusion monsters. The main deck monster I like a lot is the GMX partner Solandia. This card is amazing. This card is honestly so amazing because it does so many different things in the archetype. This card is really cool because it can be a starter or an extender, but my favorite thing about this card is that it can help unbrick your hands. I'll show you guys an example later, but I really do like the aspect about this card. Another card I really like is the new fusion monster, Evolved Deneen. When this card is special summoned, it's a Rhoda, so you can bring it back from the grave on a follow-up turn to get a Rhoda effect. On top of that, what makes it even better is that this card can summon itself back from the grave. This card is honestly a really great design, but I do have one issue with the card. I really hate that the materials to summon this card are Return Dino Deneen plus a dinosaur monster. I really wish as material this card required a GMX monster. It's really annoying how you aren't guaranteed to summon this card off Experiment 55. The reason why is because Experiment 55 stopped excavating cards from your deck once you hit a GMX and a dinosaur monster. GMX do not have a main deck dinosaur monster right now. It's honestly really annoying, and that's why I wish this card required a GMX monster as material. Now, even though I said this one fusion has a lot of problems, it's still one of the best cards in this wave of support. They got another fusion monster who's just flat out terrible. This new fusion monster is Giga bad. I don't even know why they printed this one. They got a trap card that's really bad because it's a monster negate, but the thing is you're not even guaranteed to negate a card. When I say they got some really bad cards, they got a lot of really bad cards. However, despite how disappointing some of these cards are, I did make a couple of combos to show you guys. I know you guys always like seeing combos whenever new cards come out, so I'll show you guys a couple right now. Even though some of these cards are pretty bad, some of the things they can do are pretty interesting. Now for the first combo, you only need one card in your hand, which is going to be Solande. You're going to normal summon Solande and activate this card's effect. On summon now, you get to summon a GMX non-warrior from your deck or a dinosaur monster that's level 3 or lower. The non-warrior GMX monsters are honestly pretty bad, so we're not going to summon one of them. Instead, we're going to summon a dinosaur. We're going to summon Return Dino Deneen. This card's a really good target because on summon, this card's effect will activate. When this card is summoned by the effect of a monster, you get to add a GMX monster from your deck to your hand. Now before in the older combos, what you would do is add Kimmeridge from your deck to your hand, but now we have a better target. Here we're going to add the new GMX partner Solandia. Now we're going to activate the effect of Deneen on our field. Now we get to fusion summon one dinosaur fusion by using monsters on our hand or field as material. So we're going to take our Deneen and our Solande to fusion summon. Here we're going to summon GMX Alos. Now here we're going to activate the effect of Alos. Once per turn, you get to target a GMX or a dinosaur monster in your grave or banishment and summon the card. We're going to target our Solande and summon that card from our grave. Now we're going to activate the effect of Solande on summon. When this card is special summoned, you get to add a GMX spell or trap from your deck to your hand. Now we're going to search for GMX Experiment Report. Now we're going to activate the effect of Solande in our hand. You get to reveal this card in your hand to summon a GMX or a dinosaur monster from your hand. We're going to summon this card off its own effect. Now the other effect of Solande will activate on summon. If this card is special summoned by a monster effect, you get to special summon one level 4 or lower GMX or a dinosaur monster from your hand, grave, or banishment. This is really great because now you get to bring back your Deneen, so now we can summon the Evolved Deneen. Now we can't activate Deneen again because we already used the effect, but we still have Experiment Report. We're going to activate this card, and what this card will let you do is fusion summon one dinosaur fusion by using monsters from your hand or field as material. This is why this card is better than Experiment 55 right now. Being able to pick the monsters on your field as material is really good. It has to be these two as material because we need a dinosaur and we need Deneen. Now here we're going to fusion summon our Evolved Deneen. Now the effect of the fusion Deneen will activate here. If this card is special summoned, you get to add a GMX card from your deck to your hand. Now we're going to search for Experiment 55. Now we're going to take our Deneen and our Evolved Deneen to link summon into IP Masquerena. Now we're going to activate Experiment 55 from our hand. Now we get to activate cards from the top of our deck until we hit a GMX monster and a dinosaur monster. However, if you do so, you get to fusion summon one GMX fusion monster. However, you will lose 400 life points for each card you excavate. Now in this combo, I'm just going to assume the cards I excavate are not extenders. The reason why I do this is because if you haven't seen my combos, I always assume in RNG spots I get unlucky. I know some other people like to show you the best example where you mill some really good cards, but I don't like to do that. The reason why is because in my combo guides, I like to show you guys combos that are really replicatable. I don't want to show you guys a combo where you have to get lucky every time in order to do that combo. So in this combo, I'm just going to send Deneen and a Noma to the grave because I already used Deneen and Noma's pretty bad in the grave. Now we're going to fusion summon into Velox. Now you're going to end your turn here. On the opponent's turn, you get to activate the effect of IP Masquerena to link summon. You're going to take your Deneen and your IP Masquerena to summon SP. Now the effect of SP will activate on summon. Now you get to target a card in your opponent's grave or the control and banish it. Also, when your opponent activates another card or effect and they have a monster on the field, you get to activate the second effect of SP. You get to banish this card on the field and banish their monster. So it's pretty good. You got to remove 2 cards and you still have Velox on your field. When your opponent has a card on the field that you want to get rid of, you're going to activate the effect of Velox. What you're going to do is target the card on the field, and now you get to activate cards until you hit a GMX monster or a dinosaur monster. Now you get to either add that card to your hand or you summon it, and then you get to destroy the card your opponent controls. Now there's a couple of really good monsters you can excavate here in GMX. If you hit Kimmeridge, it's pretty good because now you get to destroy a monster your opponent controls. All you do is target 2 cards in your grave that are GMX or a dinosaur, and you place them on top of your deck in any order. Now you get to destroy 1 monster your opponent controls, but the monster has to be in attack position. It's honestly not too bad. You get to remove 1 card. Now another really good card you could activate is Noma. If this card is on the field and your opponent would normal or special summon a monster, you get to fusion summon a GMX fusion by using monsters on your field, grave, and banishment as material. Now I'll show you what happens if you excavate Noma, even though Noma isn't that great. Now also, because you excavated a card off a GMX effect, you get to activate the effect of Deneen in your grave. This card will summon itself from the grave, and now you get a Rhoda for any GMX card. This is pretty great because it gives you a guaranteed follow-up on your next turn. Now when your opponent normal or special summons a monster, you get to activate the effect of Noma to fusion summon. You're going to summon the big dinosaur monster Comprex. Now to summon Comprex, you can use 2+ dinosaur monsters as material. What makes it good is that the more materials you use to summon this card, the more effects you get. I have a lot of material, so I'm going to return them back to my deck to fusion summon, but this card is still pretty mid. Now this card gains effects depending on how many dinosaur monsters use as material. 3+, this card cannot be targeted with card effects. 4+, it can make up to 3 attacks during each battle phase. 5+, your opponent loses 800 life points every time they summon a monster. The worst part is that this card doesn't count the GMX monster used as material to summon this card. It will only count the dinosaur monsters. So in order to get the effect that makes your opponent lose life points, you have to use 6 monsters as material. I don't know guys, that's pretty bad if you ask me. Also, once per turn, if you excavate a card by a GMX effect, you can destroy all other monsters on the field. That's pretty okay too, but at the same time, we're not hurting for monster removal. You ready to get IP Masquerade who gets you SP and Velox? You're really not struggling for a board wipe. So as you guys can see, it doesn't matter if we hit Noma here because this card that we summon is really mid. So even if you don't hit Noma and you miss out on Comprex, I wouldn't be too upset. Okay, now I'm going to show you guys combo number 2. This is going to be an anti-Nibiru combo. One of my favorite things whenever new cards come out is trying to beat hand traps. For this combo, the starter that we're going to be using is Oviraptor. We're going to normal summon Oviraptor and activate this card's effect. Now when this card is summoned, you get to take a dinosaur monster and add the card to your hand or send it to the grave. We're going to add a monster to our hand here. We're going to get a search for Miscellaneousaur. Now we're going to activate the effect of Miscellaneousaur here. We discard this card from our hand, and now our dinosaur monsters are unaffected by your opponent's activated effects during this main phase. Honestly, Miscellaneousaur is kind of broken, and I'm very surprised this card was ever made. That's a really strong effect, by the way. Being able to ignore so many hand traps on your dinosaur monsters are pretty insane. Now Miscellaneousaur gets even better here. This card has a really good graveyard effect. You get to banish any amount of dinosaur monsters from your grave, including this card, and then you get to summon a dinosaur monster from your deck with a level equal to the amount of monsters you banished. So we're going to banish 1 monster from our grave, Miscellaneousaur, to summon a level 1 dinosaur. Here we're going to summon our Deneen and activate this card's effect. Now you get to add a GMX monster from your deck to your hand. We're going to add Kimmeridge here. Now what makes Kimmeridge really good is that this card is a Rhoda for GMX Experiment 55. All we have to do is reveal this card in our hand, and now we get to add the other card to our hand, and then we shuffle Kimmeridge back into our deck. Now we're going to activate Experiment 55 here. Now the GMX monster that you excavate here is somewhat relevant. You can either hit Noma or you can also hit Salande. It really doesn't matter. Both of them will get you to the same point, but Salande is a bit better. The dinosaur monster really doesn't matter though, so you can send any dinosaur that you want. I'm going to send Oviraptor because I don't need the card anymore. So now I'm going to fusion summon GMX Alos. Now I'm going to activate the effect of Alos here and target my Miscellaneousaur and summon that card to my field. Now it's really important that the next monster we summon here has to beat Nibiru. We ready summon 4 times here. Summon 1 with Oviraptor, summon 2 with Deneen, summon number 3 with Alos, and summon 4 with Miscellaneousaur. The next monster that we summon is going to be our 5th summon, and now our opponent can activate Nibiru. So now we're going to take our Miscellaneousaur and our Oviraptor to exceed summon Evolzer Dolka. Dolka is really great because this card can't stop Nibiru. Now you might be surprised here, why are you summoning Dolka? Aren't your dinosaur monsters unaffected by card effects this turn? Yes, your dinosaurs are unaffected by your opponent's activated effects, but the thing about Dolka is that it's not a dinosaur. A lot of people don't know this, but the Evolzer Exceeds are dragons, not dinosaurs. Dolka is really broken because this card can negate a monster effect and it's not once per turn. It also doesn't care where the monster activates this effect. So now because we summon 5 times, we're going to assume our opponent activates Nibiru here. We're going to chain the effect of Evolzer Dolka and detach my Miscellaneousaur to negate Nibiru and destroy that card. So in this combo line, we successfully beat Nibiru with 1 card. What we're going to do is activate the effect of Deneen now. We're going to take our Deneen and Alos to fusion summon into Evolve Deneen. Now we're going to activate the effect of Deneen here. Now we get to add a GMX card from our deck to our hand, so we're going to add Salandia. Now we're going to activate the effect of Salandia in our hand and reveal this card to summon itself. Now this is where it matters if you hit Salande or Noma. If you don't hit either of them, it really doesn't matter. Your end board will still be Dolka plus IP Masquerena. However, if you hit one of Salande or Noma, then you also get a fusion. Now the effect of Salande will activate because this card was summoned by a monster effect. Now you get to add a GMX spell or trap from your deck to your hand. We're going to add Experiment Report here. So now we're going to take Salandia and Salande to link summon to IP Masquerena. Now you're going to set your report and end your turn. Now it's really important to summon IP Masquerena that you use both of your main deck monsters. You don't want to use Deneen. The reason why is because when you activate report on your opponent's turn, it only lets to use a GMX monster from your deck. You cannot use a dinosaur monster, which is a really big deal. So if your opponent has a monster on the field, you get to activate report, and now you get to use a GMX monster from your deck as material. So in total, you still get 4 interruptions on the opponent's turn. You have still 1 negate off Dulka if your opponent had Nibiru. If they don't, then you get 5 interruptions. Now also, this will also work if you hit Noma, because Noma will let you fusion summon. However, it really doesn't matter. In this combo line, if you don't hit Noma or Salande, then it really doesn't change anything. All you miss out on is 1 pop off the fusion. Me personally, I'm really okay without it because you still get SP. Okay, in this last combo, I'm going to show you guys how to unbrick your hand if you draw Deneen. Deneen is a really bad card to draw in your hand because the problem is Salande cannot summon it from your hand. Salande can only summon a non-warrior GMX monster or a level 3 or lower dinosaur monster from your deck. That means if you draw Deneen, you're screwed. To get around this, a lot of people played multiple copies of Deneen, which is really bad. The reason why is because Deneen is a brick. It doesn't do anything in your hand. It's a really bad engine requirement, and so people played multiple of it, which is also really bad. This is where the new Salandia card comes in if you draw Deneen. You're going to activate the effect of Salandia and reveal this card in your hand to summon itself. Now you get to use the second effect of Salandia to summon Deneen from your hand. As you guys saw, we unbricked our hand, and now we also get full combo. When Deneen is summoned, now you get to add a GMX monster from your deck to your hand. We're going to add another new card, Suppression Squad. This card is really cool because when you control a GMX monster, you can summon this card from your hand. Now we get to activate the other effect of Suppression Squad. You get to target a face-up monster on your field, excavate the top card from your deck until you hit a dinosaur. You send the dinosaur to the grave, and then the monster you targeted becomes a dinosaur. The rest of the cards get shuffled back into your deck. This is really great because now you have 2 dinosaurs on the field. This means that we don't have to go into Alice, we can go into Evolve Deneen directly. So we're going to activate the effect of Deneen to summon Evolve Deneen. Now you get to add a GMX card from your deck to your hand and you have full combo. What makes this combo even better is that you didn't use your normal summon. Now the rest of the combo doesn't matter, I just wanted to show you guys how to unbrick your hand. So this is basically all I wanted to show. The new GMX cards are kind of a mixed bag. They have a lot of really strong cards in this way, but they also have some pretty terrible ones. That's really the big issue here. GMX need a lot of really good cards to be a real deck. A lot of the cards like Salandia and Deneen are pretty good, but some of the other cards are also pretty bad. Especially the other fusion, Comprex is terrible. However, if you guys disagree, you can let me know in the comments. If you guys think these new GMX cards are broken, you can leave a comment. If you also agree with me, you can leave a comment saying these cards are trash. So that's it for me. Hope you guys enjoyed. Have a good one, and I'll see you guys for the next video.